When we talk about psychology and we talk about growth and human development, we have to look at not only the whole. We've got to look at the whole person. Okay, so what we have is we have Maslow's M-A-S-L-O-W, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, basically, what this means, according to Maslow, the needs of hierarchy have to be met, one and then another and then another and then another. So it helps us to understand a lot about growth and development, and it helps us to also understand behaviors in terms of human beings. So what we have is, on the hierarchy of needs, the bottom one is biological. Okay, so it's almost like a triangle. Okay, so the bottom one is biological. So biological needs are water, oxygen, rest, an opportunity to be able to have food and water and rest. And those things, if you don't have those, then you don't move on to the next level. So you have to have level 1 to get to level 2. So if you don't have enough food to eat, or you're not getting enough sleep, or you don't have any water, or there's not enough oxygen, then you won't move to level 2. Level 2 is actually safety. Okay, so you've got biological on the bottom, and then you move up. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So if you're in your notes, you're making your notes, there's a triangle, there's going to be 5 lines. The bottom one's biological. You need to know what that is. That's food, oxygen, and water. And then we have the second one is safety. So the need for security, comfort, and safety. So once you have your biological needs met, then you're concerned about safety. Are we safe? Are we safe from, safety can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. They use safety and comfort safety. In other words, safety could be, are you endangered? Are you, do you not have a home, but you have food, but you're living out on the streets, but you have to worry about somebody with a gun, or somebody shooting you, or somebody stealing what you have. So biological, and then safety. And then the third one is attachment. Now this is kind of interesting, because attachment says in your book, need to belong, all right, to affiliate, to love and be loved. So attachment, so it's interesting. So if you're a homeless person and you don't have enough food and you don't have enough water, that's going to be your main concern, and then safety, and then, and then attachment, all right. So it's kind of interesting. So we can't really have attachment needs until we meet our biological and our safety needs, and then we have attachment needs. And then after attachment needs, as we move up, the fourth rung of the triangle is esteem. A need for confidence, sense of worth, and competence, self-esteem, and self-esteem and respect for others. So I was trying to get that directly out of your book. So esteem, all right, so we have attachment and esteem, need for confidence, sense of self-worth. Okay, now let's think about this. This is really fascinating, and a lot of psychology studies on these. What if, now let's look at this. What attachment, the need to love and be loved, is actually below that. So is it possible that maybe we could look for people for attachments that don't add to us for self-esteem or self-worth? Wow, see, that's an interesting concept, because esteem comes after you find attachment. Wow. So why is it that sometimes people might even settle for a spouse that doesn't allow them to have good self-esteem? Well, it's Maslow's telling us that the hierarchy of needs is that we need attachment. We need somebody to love us, somebody to associate, somebody to affiliate with. Okay, that's why a lot of times when it comes to attachment, that might even be, it might not always be a spouse, it might be a friend, but sometimes it might even be a gang, something to affiliate with. It might be a bad situation. It might be, yeah, I know this guy, is terrible for me and he doesn't give me any self-esteem or whatever, but I need the attachment. How many times do people take a friend just to take a friend? Even when the friend might be the worst thing in the world for them, Maslow says, okay, once we have our biological needs met, our safety needs met. Now that's interesting, because what if this person's not safe for us? Oh, well, our safety needs are right there. So according to Maslow, we think about our safety needs when we think about attachment, okay, but we don't think about esteem until after we have attachment needs met. And so then when we move up to esteem, esteem is for confidence, self-worth, competence, self-esteem. So the esteem is feeling good about ourselves. We don't have that until we have attachment needs. So this is kind of interesting. And then the last one in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. Okay, self-actualization. And that is the need to fulfill potential goals and potential meaningful goals, potential things in our life that allow us to accomplish goals, to do things, to set a career for ourselves, to set goals for ourselves, to try to determine what it is we want to do, whether it is that day or for that life, beyond biological safety, attachment, and esteem. So there we go. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's biological, safety, attachment, esteem, and then self-actualization. All right. So why is that so critical? Why is that so critical? That's critical because we take a look at our behavior, we take a look at our development, okay? And in order to have good development, we've got to have all of those, because if we don't have good self-esteem, we don't have self-actualization, then we don't fulfill what we need to accomplish, and mentally and physically we're still chasing something else. Okay, it's kind of got deep there for a little bit, but I'm going to show you why here in a little while. Okay, so there's something else about growth and development, and this is described in detail in your book, and it says that facial expressions are universal emotions. They're both innate, okay, innate means we're born with them, for protection and for health, but are also learned through classical conditioning. So what kind of facial expressions might we have? Well, we have happy, sad, mad, glad. There's several. We can have where we're very frustrated. We can have where we're beyond angry, where we're exasperated. Okay, and all of these different facial expressions are showing the actual expressions that we have. And a really unique experiment here was when they took pictures of people. They said, okay, well, let's take a picture of somebody that's happy. Okay, so let's take somebody here in the United States, let's take somebody in England, let's take somebody in Japan, somebody in China, somebody all around the world, and all of those pictures, whenever somebody looked at them, like somebody from Japan looks at a picture from the United States and says, what emotion is this in their language? And they could tell everyone, happy, mad, sad, glad, and so forth. And same with here. So what does that tell us? That tells us that facial expressions are universal. Whatever a happy face is a happy face no matter where you're at. It's not like in Africa this is a happy face, okay? And in America this is a happy face. So facial expressions are universal emotions. Now, why do we say they're for protection and health? Okay? They're for protection so that we can not only understand ourselves what is good, but when we're happy, we want to go towards that. When we're sad, we want to go away from that. When we're mad, we want to go away from that or do something to try to protect us from that. Okay? So we have protection, and then we also have health. Because once again, if something makes us, if you eat something that's rotten, then we have that facial expression, and right away, not only do we know it's bad, somebody else knows it's bad. It's kind of like my son would be like, he would pour some milk, and the milk might be spoiled, and he would say, hey, you want to taste and see if this milk is spoiled? Well, I can look at the facial expression and tell, yeah, that milk's spoiled. So facial expressions are universal emotions both innate, meaning we're born with, okay, and they're also learned through classical conditioning. So there are some things, for example, that make us happy, okay, and then later on they might even make us sad. We might go to a carnival, okay, and ride a fun little ride, and it might be like, oh, it might be the happiest ride ever, but through classical conditioning, we might ride it and we might be like, oh no, look, that ride just makes me fearful, or that ride makes me scared. That's classical conditioning, because once we actually experienced it, then we stored the association with it, and so then we had that emotion. So facial expressions, once again, are universal emotions. They're both innate, we're born with them, for protection and health, but are also through classical conditioning, also through learned conditioning as well as innate. So once again, on this first one, we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of need. We have biological, food and water, safety, a need for protection and comfort, attachment, need to belong, okay, esteem, need for self-esteem, and the self-actualization to be able to set goals. And then we had facial expressions are universal. So in the next video, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about a really interesting topic. We're going to talk about stress. So I'll see you for the next video.